Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for clicking on the video. My name is David Pendleton, and I'm going to be covering another Golf Impact tournament. This week, we're doing the amateur qualifying round walkthrough for the Paris Championship. So if you don't know my plan is I'm going to stay in the amateur division for a little while just to make sure that I can cover every single course. So for the players that are watching today that are an amateur and you're looking for some help, you're in the right place. If you're watching this in the future, my whole plan is to put into very neat organized folders on my channel via the playlist and have a general walkthrough for each course in the game at each division level. Now, I know that's going to take a little bit of time. It'll take a little bit of patience, but that's what I'm trying to do. Just build a library so everybody has a place they can go to for help when it comes to Golf Impact tournaments. So today is qualifying round number 1, and as you can see, we had a nice round. We shot a -14, so we're well ahead of the competition at the moment. Now, when it comes to this course here, I didn't get any albatrosses or any hole-in-ones. I played every hole normal, meaning if it was a par 3, I got a birdie. If it was a par 5, I got an eagle. The only difference was on 2 of the par 4s, I picked up eagles, which is how we got to a -14. So here we go. Let's check out hole number 1. Hole number 1, we're getting nice little tailwind here, which is why I'm just using a basic ball. I don't really need any ball that has wind resistance. I don't really need any ball that has power. We can keep those nice special balls for more difficult holes or more difficult wind situations. So here I'm going with max overpower, a little bit of curl to the right. And as you can see, even with the basic ball, we're able to get very, very far up the fairway here. And of course, it's nice being lucky and having the Meteor Club as a driver, which I was lucky enough to unlock with my 3-day special. On your first 3 days of logging into the game, you get a free legendary club, and that's the one that I got. So that's shot number 1. That'll take us to shot number 2. Shot number 2 here, we're going to be playing with our short iron. And for me, I have the Seal. That's the best short iron that I have on lock so far on this account. 4.6 mile per hour wind. It means we're going to move just a little bit more than 2 rings. Because remember, every ring accounts for 2 miles an hour. Here I do get that perfect ball again. And we get this thing to drop very nicely into the hole for an extra eagle on hole number 1. Takes us into our first par 3, which is hole number 2. Hole number 2, I play with my long iron, and here I do have the Phoenix Club available to me. As you can see here, I'm playing with a little bit of backspin. I'm putting my yellow ring right there on the rough line, so leaving myself some room between the fairway and the rough. That's always something you want to do to be safe. 4.7 miles an hour means I move a little bit more than 2 rings on my pool. We hit a perfect ball. And this one comes in very nicely. The speed is good. We just miss a little bit to the right-hand side. And again, this is a basic ball only. So you could use yourself like maybe a feather ball in this situation. So you can add a little bit of side spin. But if you want to keep your balls, then just go ahead and use a basic ball. But just move our target over to the left a little bit, okay? And that could drop for a hole-in-one on hole number 2. This takes us to our first par 5. The par 5s feel very long on the Paris course. So here I'm using my first non-basic ball, and we're going to go with the clover ball. The reason I'm going with the clover ball is because I can tell at the tee box with the wind angle that we're getting on our drive, we should have headwind on shot number 2. So here you see me make my adjustment for the wind. 3.9 miles per hour equals almost right at 2 ring adjustment. And here we're just going with overpower, but making sure that we land on the fairway. Don't go crazy with the overpower and hit yourself a great shot and end up in the rough, because then you're not going to have a chance to eagle the hole. Well, if you do eagle, you'll have to hit a very long shot for an eagle. The goal here is to get close to the albatross or have an easy putt in for our eagle on the par 5s. As you can see, just as expected, we did get headwind, so the wind is blowing directly at our face, which means the ball is not going to be able to travel as far in the air. So here we account for that with some topspin and a little bit of overpower. Not a whole lot, maybe half a ball of overpower for me. You just kind of have to judge off your club and your distance of how much overpower you'll need. But you can see here, I could have went with some less overpower because we do land, beyond the hole, leaving us for a scary putt for eagle. But the good news is, we do make this putt, we hit perfect, and we're in for the eagle on hole number 3. Takes on the hole number 4. Hole number 4 is going to be another par 4. And this time we're using that clover ball again, just because of the headwind push. We're going to reduce the wind a little bit. I do go with max overpower. I do hit a perfect ball. We land very nicely up the fairway, leaves us for shot number 2. Shot number 2, I was kind of caught in between, do I want to use a wood club or do I want to use my long iron? For me here, because we're getting some tailwind a little bit, I decided to go ahead and go with the long iron, just because the wood is a much more powerful club. I used just a click of overpower, as you saw there, and ultimately that was a good choice on the club to use as we land on the green very safely for a putt for the birdie. Hole number 5 is our next par 3. And this one, it's raining, so keep in mind whenever the course is raining, the ball doesn't travel as far, and plus when it hits the fairway and green, it kind of deadens the ball a little bit. So always keep that in mind as you're playing in rain situations. We get a perfect ball here again, and you'll see we bounce from the fairway, we roll to the green, and we just miss it by a hair for what would have been a really nice hole-in-one on a rainy course. So very, very close on that one. You can make some very small tweaks to try to get that one into the hole. You might want to rewind it and watch it again just to kind of see where I set up, because that is a very doable hole-in-one with a basic ball. Okay, takes on to our next hole here, and this time we're going to use the rose ball. The reason we're using the rose ball is just for the power. As you can see, we are 591 yards away from the pin, so this is almost a 600-yard par 5. I do feel that a lot of opponents are going to struggle on the par 5s. So really, for everybody watching in the amateur division, if you're able to pick up the eagles on all the par 5s, I do feel like that's going to put you light years ahead of the competition in the qualifying round. And then we'll see the competition, get more fierce as we move into the opening round and then, of course, the weekend round if we're lucky to make it that far. But here we go 336 yards on the drive. Leaves us for the second shot. Now you can see here that even with the level 2 Hellfire, we got to use topspin to get to the hole. Now at this point, it's just about how much topspin do we have to use. In the headwind, so we're getting 3.6 mile per hour headwind, meaning the wind is blowing at us. That's going to deaden the ball in the air. I use just a little bit of overpower, not much. And I get this thing to roll very nicely onto the green, leaving us for another putt in for eagle. So these are going to be difficult albatrosses for sure. Yeah, some people are going to pick them up, but it is going to be on the much more rare side. I feel like in this tournament, the par 3s and the first hole are probably where we can get the extra drops. But here, we make the putt and we're in for eagle, no problem. Another hole where it's raining. This is another par 4 in which we're going to be getting headwind this time. So this is the first really good ball that I use. I do consider this Vega ball here to be one of the better balls in the game. And the reason that I'm using this one is because we're getting headwind. 4.4 miles an hour blowing back at us at the tee box with rain. We do need the power here in order to get to the second fairway now. If you're a newer player like myself, or if you're a newer player, maybe you don't have the Meteor or the Hellfire unlocked, that's okay. You're going to get it in due time. You don't have to take this drive here. You could very easily move your target all the way over to the left. Oops, I don't want to do that. 1 second. So what I wanted to do here is you could easily play this shot right here in this area. You could drive your ball up here, and then shot number 2, go to pin, okay? For me, I'm looking to try to get as far up as I can, which is why you see me playing the more aggressive shot here. Look at this, full overpower, perfect ball. You know, you're going to have to be very careful on this one because if you hit a great ball, you could easily land into the rough or the sand, and that might eliminate your chance to pick up an easy birdie. But here, because we got so many yards on the drive, we are able to take a mid-iron shot for the eagle opportunity. As you can see, I went max backspin. I got my ball guideline right to the pin. 3.9 mile per hour wind makes it easy to pull because we know we just have to pull almost right at 2 rings and our shot should be pretty accurate. Here I get that perfect ball, and this thing lands perfectly in the cup for an eagle. Not the easiest hole, the eagle, but it's definitely there, okay? All right, this is going to be the par 3 in which I think it's going to be the best opportunity for a hole-in-one, especially if you're somebody using a ball that has wind resistance, because if we can knock down the wind here, we're going to have a more accurate shot. But as you can see, I've got the long iron here. I got my ball guideline pointing to the pin. 6.2 miles per hour is going to be a little bit more than 3 rings on the pool. Perfect ball. And the speed is pretty good. We just missed this one by quite a bit. But again, I think if you're going to use a ball that's going to allow you to have some more wind resistance, that might work out a little bit better. Par 5, this is going to be the trickiest par 5 probably for most people on the drive, as you're going to see a lot of opponents, you know, more than likely get into trouble by landing in the sand or on the rough. We're using a clover ball, and the reason we're not going max overpower is because it's much more important to make sure that we land on the fairway. You know, the yards on the drive that you're going to get by using max overpower, by getting yourself maybe an extra 6 to 10 yards, is not worth the gamble on this hole. We have got to get decent yards, but just make sure that we land on the fairway. As you can see here, this is going to be nice because we're going to be able to go with a max backspin wood shot. And ultimately, we land on the green here, and we're very safely able to putt in for the eagle. And not too far away from picking up an albatross. So a little bit of minor tweaks with changing your ball guide position and maybe some side spin, and you might be looking at an albatross there on a long par 5 again. Hey, I hope you like this. I hope you found it helpful, and stay tuned later on in the week where I will do the same thing for the opening round, and then probably on Sunday stream my finals live. So if you're able to wait and play on the last day of the tournament, you know, you might be able to catch me live and pick up a couple extra tips. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber already, and hit that thumbs up button if you liked the video. Thanks, everybody.